Welcome, gang, to the announcements. You can't hear my player for the evening, but I can, for sure. And they're saying nothing right now. They're not saying anything right now. But this is our second introduction session for Song of the Crown. And thank you for coming and joining us. A couple of quick notes for my players in other campaigns and in campaigns in waiting. The Decade of Strife site is open for registrations, so if you're one of my players, you can go and register there if you'd like to engage in that activity, that role-playing activity. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I've kind of adjusted it a little bit, so I'll talk more about that in our Discord channels. Hi, Deli Dude, you're such a good baby. But that's available now. Next up is schedule. So we're going to talk about the schedule real quick. The schedule for May, it's not like I didn't do this yesterday, but in case you missed it, the schedule for May has been posted. We have 2 sessions for Kingdom of Darkness, the 13th and the 27th. We have 2 sessions for Baptized in Blood, the 4th and 18th. We have 1 session that's an introduction session for 2 characters. They're sharing one. That's on the 22nd of May. The next thing after this session is another introduction session on the 30th of April for a character named Patchwork. So that's the schedule in full right now. We don't have any From Depths Unkind introduction sessions scheduled at the moment. I'm waiting for a little bit more time to pass in Baptized in Blood, because 2 of the players in From Depths Unkind are in Baptized in Blood, and they have indicated they want to carry their characters over. So I need a little bit more time to see if that's going to be feasible or not, i.e. whether or not they get killed. So it is a potential thing. I don't want to schedule something that winds up not being canon later, right? So there's that. Without anything else to say, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and move us into our play environment, where we will see our player for this evening. Say hi, Apostate.
Hi, Apostate.
This is my player for the evening and my friend Apostate. You may be familiar with their work. They have played Theophania of Raincore for the past several months, maybe going on a year at this point for Kingdom of Darkness, and you were also in the Heart of Rage for about half of that campaign. So glad to have you back for this one, for Song of the Crown. Go ahead and tell us who you'll be playing this evening.
It is good to be back. I can't believe it's been a year with Theophania, but we're going to step out of Dreamland and into the Song of the Crown with Tylia Val'Ghast. She is a dark elf woman.
Mm-hmm.
She is, I think the age is 60. Yes, it is 60. Nice round number there.
Yeah.
She is tall, quite tall. Dark elves lean tall, so I leaned all the way into that. And should I describe her as she currently is, or is that something we're going to explore in this session today?
You can describe her as she currently is at the moment.
All right. So at the moment, a full half of her body is, the left half of her body is completely riddled with burn scars and raw flesh that is still healing from I would call it, in many ways, it was sort of a career-ending encounter with a dangerous enemy. Up to that point, she was a royal guard. She was one of the King's Guard in the Corinthian military, quite close. But an encounter with, as mentioned, a dangerous enemy has left her down and out for some time.
Okay. Well, with that said, we're going to cut to a horrifying scene of battle in the space between a very small town and much larger town. Between Vesperly and Sorath, we're just going to kind of down here. I'm going to make these two kind of invisible for a minute because they're not necessary. In this little gap here, you and your cohort had peeled off from the main group, the King and Queen's caravan, their wagon train, to distract what can only be described as a horrible, horrible monster. A Omega Salamander, massive in size, likely 10 horses long, something like that. It's crazy how big this thing is. Body covered in black scales that are jutting up and out of its, its whole body, sort of like mountains do. And between the cracks, just the fiery glow of magma. You and your fellow elite guard are charging this creature, and as it breaks one of your friends in half with a large clawed limb moving forward to turn, it rakes the rest of the group with a spray of magma, catching half of you, setting you on fire and taking you down for the count. In that moment, when Tylia is probably sure she's going to die, what are the thoughts going through her head?
I think there's the first thing that hits is the pain, because while the magma that would hit her skin immediately, of course, that actually burns so hot that it kills your nerves. She is in battle armor, so she's feeling her armor start to melt on her. And past that is this idea, or not an idea, but I think the memories of her life as her brain starts to reach that place of near death. Her mother and her grandmother, all the places she's seen, the time she spent in the academy. And then it comes to the king and the queen, and the last sight of the king that she got, his column sort of moving on ahead, and memories of all the time that they spoke together, meals shared, conversations, important moments. And Tylia knows that this is the end. All those things are coming to an end. And then there's this little thought, this little voice, this little train of logic that follows that, and soon it'll be over for him too, because this thing is going to catch up and it's going to run absolutely ragged through everyone else. And then Tylia's only overwhelming thought is no.
Tylia, you are lying in a hospital bed some time later. Your face is bandaged, your body immobilized. You can see out of your good eye. The ceiling is a light wood, the room is bright, and you hear footsteps and a voice. Ah, awake are we? We've given you a paralytic and something for the pain to keep you from thrashing. You're very lucky. Burns on over 1/3 of your body, including your face. You were in free fall for a while. Some of your wounds had been infected, but you passed through that darkness. Your eye catches her as she has come close. She is a tall woman, a dark elf, beautiful. She has her hair dyed black, leaving vertical stripes of white in her hair. Her skin is darker, like charcoal. Her eyes are a bright purple with a hint of a glow in them. She's probably a daywalker or a delver. She says, "Going to check your bandages now. If you can talk, feel free, but don't strain yourself."
Where?
You're in
Where is this?
you're in Fordeath.
How long?
Oh, you've been here a week?
Anyone else?
There were a couple of other survivors, but they didn't make it. Infection and other systemic organ failure.
Do I recognize this Dark Elf?
If you've been to the hospital before, yes, you do recognize her, but her name escapes you. She's not a very polite sort. From your time in the city of Daimaraha, you recall pretty much everyone who was polite introduced themselves with their position, their full name, and what they were doing. She only told you what she was doing. So, she's a particularly rude sort. Some people are just brusque like that.
Fair. The king?
He's still alive, if that's what you're asking. He's in Helcorth right now. He supposedly has work to do there. I am not privy to that sort of information. This is going to sting. You feel something, despite the paralytic administered to you, you feel something like tingle and burn starting from your lower extremity, your lower left extremity, and starting to go up. Just washing some of the dead tissue off of you.
Are you gonna take the limbs?
Well, if you don't get infected again, then no, I won't have to. Well, you may wish I had. It's going to hurt more to keep them.
How long till I'm better?
That'll be up to you, mostly, but in cases like yours, to be fighting fit again, it will be a year, and you'll never be the same.
She tries not to clench her jaw at that.
She says to you as she moves up your body towards your head. Now, I'm not particularly sure if you are of the vain sort or not, but if you would like, I could put an order in for a face attachment that will at least be more distracting and less horrifying than what others will see. She's got a pair of tweezers and she's looking down at your head. You can see into her eyes. She's working, pulling dead skin off of your body there. The maggots did a good job with you, but there's still some pieces. You have some time to think about it, but they are expensive. I know someone who would be able to get you something like that, if you were so inclined. Ooh,
Like a mask?
Sort of. That's a big piece there.
Who are you?
I don't try to get very close to the people that come through here. It's a personal choice. I'd rather this remain as distant as possible. For my objectivity, and so you can focus on the only thing that should matter to you. Recuperation.
What? should I call you then?
Doctor.
Uh, that's gonna make... Are you the only doctor here?
I'm the only one with a lifetime more of skill than the rest of them, and I'm the only one who's willing to work on you.
Why won't the others?
Oh, they are a little afraid of fucking you up.
Huh.
That might be because I've made them afraid of fucking you up. Call that kinship.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. These humans don't understand much about our biology.
Huh.
You might not understand much about your own biology. I think, if I recall, you were raised here in Krunth.
Mostly.
So. You get some rest. I'm done for now. And if you'd like some visitors, let me know. I'll see if I can have one of the orderlies find them. If not, I can arrange for...
Visitors?
Yes, if you have friends or something like that.
Oh.
If you're hoping for a conjugal visit, I can't authorize that. Good to see you have a sense of humor still.
The king's in Hellcore.
Yes, for now. As far as I know.
And I think Tylia is overwhelmed at that moment in her eyes.
Okay.
Well, her eye closes.
And we will change our scene to another time in the hospital, much further along in the future. You've already heard the bad news that the king was killed, and not too long after that, killed in battle, and not too long after that, the queen took her life from grief. And so you heard that the princess, just within the past month or so, you're unsure of when the information made its way to you finally, but the princess has gone missing. You gather a horse despite the recommendations from the doctor that you stay and continue your recuperation. You ride ahead of your companions in the elite guard, not waiting to organize and send a search party for the princess, the only member of the family left, who has gone missing, as we've said. When you reach Kipperley the next day, you find a town that is going about its daily work. The River Velment's banks have risen from the rain, getting close to Saturos. We're in the death throes of winter. Perhaps the citizens here may know more about what happened to the princess's party. Also, I would like to know what your horse's name is.
The horse's name is... I should have been prepared for this.
No, I didn't tell you you were going to have one.
Yeah, I didn't count on it. I think the horse's name is Nutmeg.
Nutmeg. Great name for a horse. You and Nutmeg enter Kipperley.
All right. What's the kind of what is this town like? What's the mood? What are the conditions like?
This is a town that's sort of like a very brief stop on the road south. More people that's, take a slower mode of travel do stay here, but people who have horses tend to not. If they're in any hurry, they will just move on to Vesperly. But Kipperly is one of those towns that has amenities because it's close enough to the city. Fair number of inns, a couple of taverns, mostly a farming community due to its proximity to the river. And that's pretty much it. It's not a poor town, but it is not a, rich town either. It's one of those small towns that's just outside of a metropolis.
Okay. What... And do they have one single inn, or are there multiple inns?
They have a few.
Okay. Okay. And what kind of provisioners do they have here?
They have mostly traveling supplies and tools and the sort of stuff you would find in a agricultural town or a small merchant burg. It's not a military sort of outpost. There's barely a garrison here. It's like one platoon of guys, about 15 dudes, that kind of just do the policing around here and occasionally slay a monster that's, making a mess of things. But yeah, the guys that are here, generally itching for action and get rotated out as soon as they can. So as far as like military equipment or arms or armor are concerned, super rare to find here anything on sale. They don't have a pawn shop.
So armorers and weaponsmiths are not like it's really not common here.
No. If you were going to get something like that, it would have been in for death, but you had to leave now.
Super dead.
Huh.
All right. Of these, the multiple inns here, which one is the big? Because the princess was not traveling in secret. I'm supposing, correct?
No, she was not. She was traveling openly. She had made it, the people in general aware that she was going on a tour to visit the various headquarters of the knightly orders. Her first stop was going to be Sorath, where the Gorgons are based. So. The inn that she would have stopped at, Val'Ghast Inn, fairly obvious. It's right there on the highway, right there where it crosses the water. It's called the Resting Kipper, unfortunately. It's got this fish that's upside down on the placard.
Classic.
Do you want to go in and talk to the people there?
Yeah, I think that'd be the first stop.
Sure, make an investigation check with advantage. You're kind of using your official capacity to question them.
Oh, well.
That's a natural 20.
Sure is.
They do confirm that the princess's party passed through without incident at a leisurely pace. There was nothing out of the ordinary. They weren't being followed by anyone they shouldn't have been, just regular travelers that happened to be going the same direction. You'd find that there was no inciting or out-of-place incident through your questions, and you find that things were as normal as they could have been in a town this far north and this safe.
So this town was regarded as mostly safe.
Yeah, it's so safe. Like, it's on the top 5 places in Krunth to raise a family in safety,
Messed up.
Yeah, you've heard those lists before? So. In fact, as you leave the tavern, the inn, there's just a suburban couple, or a couple from Fordeth looking at like property out here with a real estate agent and going, well, there's a lot of land out here that hasn't been developed. You could easily secure, a farm plot for yourself and build a nice, comfortable 2-story farmhouse for you and your, pending bundle of joy and your soon-to-be 13 children or whatever you plan on having, and just how to, that conversation is happening like 30 feet away from you quite loudly.
Horrific. This is a damned place. Okay. Does the inn have its own stable?
It does.
And so the people in the inn didn't have really any idea where the princess went.
No, they didn't. They said that she continued on her route south.
I'll check in with the stable then, see if anything can be turned up there. Because I'm assuming, maybe a horse needed to be reshoed or something like that. Maybe they'd have more information. Could tell me more about the condition of the horses and their traveling ability.
Sure, yeah. The stablers at the stable, that's what the stablers do, were quite happy to see you. They offered to reshoe your horse for you as soon as you got there. There were several, horses in the caravan, in the column, that needed, some care and some, extra checks like teeth and that sort of thing. Some ferrying, but nothing out of the ordinary. And it's a large number of people. It's, the carriages, 4 of them, the horses, like 30 of them, because there was a good contingent of troops with them as well. So it's not like she was out here, rolling down the street with, a 1-horse-drawn carriage and like 4 guys. We're talking like a battalion, almost. Not really, but more like a company.
A company. Okay, that's good in one way. That many soldiers in one place isn't going to be quiet or hard to miss.
Right.
All right. Well, I'll take them up on the reshoeing. I'll probably also need to buy some supplies for the road. I guess I'd love to know if there's anyone who can give me a map.
Yeah, they give you a roughly drawn regional map of sort of the central corridor of Printh. And by roughly drawn, I mean it's a piece of paper. There's a dot at the top that says Fordeth. There's a dot slightly below that says Kipperley with a couple of lines cutting through it. That's got to be the river. And then there's another dot below that says Vesperly. Kind of sandwiched between like 2 hastily drawn mountains, and then there's another dot below that's titled Sorath, and that one's your destination. So
yeah, I guess the last group of people in town who I'd want to talk to. Let me just see here.
While you're thinking, I do want to be clear. That you don't really need much of a map. You've traveled this highway a lot.
Okay, that's good. Then the last group of people I guess I would want to talk about is a place like this, given what you've described, sounds like there would be like local foresters who maybe sell their services as guides.
Yeah, those people do exist. There aren't really many forests out here in Kipperley. It's sort of sparse. These plains are more plains. So
plains are more the thing. But there are like rangers in the lake, I guess.
Yeah, there are a couple of hunters and rangers that could like guide you if you needed it. There's no indication that they left the road up here to Kipperley.
Okay. I guess I'd like to ask them if they noticed anything odd.
Sure. With your natural 20, they tell you that they did not notice anything out of the ordinary. But the group did buy almost their entire stock of salted meats.
Would that be far in excess of what they would need to reach the...
Not really. If the price was good here, they would have bought the stock and then would have kept it to continue on their tour after Sorath, because it would have stayed good for an extended period of time because it was cured. So, depending on the route they were going to take, it's kind of far to, someplace out by like Assacor, or if they were going to go to Hillsfar from that direction and then cut back to Morith. It really depends on what their route was. after Sorath. So.
Yep. Yep, so I'm picking up some supplies. I guess I'll like show the crude map because I've taken the highways and things like that before, but I'll ask the foresters, or not the foresters, sorry, the rangers and the hunters if there's anything that like any things of note I should be aware of, and I'll get them to mark it on my little map.
Sure. In the region, the only thing that they mark that is of concern is that there's this, big nasty Omega Salamander wandering the wilds in the region between Vesperly and Sorath. You guys did not kill it.
Yeah.
The guy goes, "You'll definitely see it before it sees you, because it's kind of hard to miss. You could sneak up on it if it's asleep by accident, but if it's moving around, you're gonna know it's there." Rumor is it's kind of nesting in the western mountains, not the Severed Keeps, but the Nucor.
Tylia thanks them for their help.
Mm-hmm.
And is it close to the night?
Yeah, it can be.
Okay.
If you've spent the day talking to everybody, then yes.
Yeah. Okay, so then we'll get a room in the actually I'll ask if they can give me the room the princess stayed in.
Let me just roll something real quick, see if it's available. The publican turns and says, "Unfortunately, miss, we do have someone of noble blood staying in that room at the moment, and I would not hazard removing them from their space for you."
Who exactly?
Lord Passacor.
Do I know that name?
Yes, you know Duke Passacor. He's actually the princess's uncle.
When did he arrive?
Yesterday. By way of Everly. He was coming. He had come from Vesperly, was moving north.
He alone?
As alone as Shaw Passacor ever is, he is sure as something. And you know this to be true. Shaw Passacor is the head of the Knightly Order of the Black Templars. They are the people who go around the country killing, like, clergy that are out of line, and killing, like, religious folks that are out of line. Cultists, for example. Dangerous cultist hunters. So these are the kind of people that Duke Shaw Passacor, leads.
How many of them with him?
He's got 10 Templar with him.
All in the same room, or?
Not in the same room, but they're spread about. Shar Passacor. It's S-H-A-R. I've been saying Shaw. Shar.
Did he say what his business was then?
He's heading back to Fordeath to fill the position that the Council of Dukes have appointed him to.
Huh. Well, don't want to kick up a fuss. I'll take another room then. It's no trouble.
Of course. And they will show you to a room.
And I guess the last thing I want to do is, before I turn in for the night, is see if I can see any of these Templars out in the inn,
now,
taking their drink or meals.
Yeah, now that you know you're looking for them, they may not be wearing their armor, but you do see the telltale signs of men that are too hard for any world. It's just There's like three guys in the tavern that they're not wearing like the big plate, but they do definitely have something on under their tunics, under their tabards, and they are armed. They're the most armed people here, and most of the villagers are keeping their distance. There's a couple of them patrolling the building outside, and those are the only ones that you see. So you can see 5 of them in total.
Can I like listen in to see what they're talking about?
Yeah, make a perception check if you like.
Okay. There we go. We're back, everyone.
There it
Audience,
is.
we're so back.
There it is.
Under 10.
We got it. We're there. Feeling it. Yeah. The only thing that you're picking up from these guys is they're talking about this cult called the Screams of Eternal Death. And how it's been just like spreading all over the country. Everywhere they've been, there have been members of this cult. Says loud enough for you to really pick out, like, and without having to like lean in. Says, like they're breeding like rats, you know? They're just, every time we kill an entire nest of this filth, there's more of them. Another guy goes, pretty soon we're just gonna be putting whole villages to the sword. Oh, we live in such dark times.
Well, Tylia will retire for the evening, but I just want to see here. I do have the alarm spell. I am going to set the alarm spell, and I'm going to have my sword in easy reach.
Sure. Okay, yeah, you set your alarm, you have your sword in easy reach. Your night passes without incident the following morning. Do you see any objective here that remains?
I mean, ideally, I would have liked to get a look at the princess's room, but I don't have an immediate reason to suspect Char. And like as not, he's in the biggest, fanciest room they have, and he's kind of mucked it up with all his business. So
yeah.
On we go then. We're gonna keep on the trail of the princess. It shouldn't be theoretically too hard to track a company of soldiers.
No, and that's you know what you're doing when it comes to that. If you want, you can reach Vesperly in a day if you push the horse a little, and it would not be too dangerous for them because you did rest today. This practice day.
Will pick up a few spare apples on my way out.
Okay.
And engage in horse bribery to push the horse.
Sure, yeah, you engage in horse bribery and you reach Vesperly by the end of the day. You're getting pretty close to Sadaros. The weather has warmed significantly. And you see that when you arrive, Vesperly is the same small town farming community that you've always known it to be. You've gone through this town many a time in your 60 years, in your probably 40 years of service to the royal family. You could see the fields being treated for the upcoming planting season, so they're fixing the irrigation trenches. Those are being reinforced and repaired, dug out if they need that. Sadaros has a way of showing those weaknesses, so they're getting prepared to not have to repair as much once the planting season's here. There's a large tavern here in Vesperly called the Smoking Toad. You've stayed here before on trips south with the royal family. The whole town is kind of built around it, and one of the publicans is a friend of yours. His name is Old Mauser. He used to be just Mauser, but, he aged
Time's a son of a bitch that way.
Sure is.
All right, I guess the publican is sort of the person in charge, right?
Yeah, the publican's kind of like he's they may be the proprietor, they may not be,
Mm.
but they are kind of the manager.
Well, let's go check in on old Mauser then.
Okay. You walk into the Smoking Toad, and there's this little like on the front check-in. There's a little clay work painted toad with a big pipe in its mouth, and it bubbles occasionally. And this portly guy with sort of the side burn that goes all the way around the back, head bald. His hair's getting a little gray. He's got one of those big, like Super Mario kind of mustaches. Kind of looks up and says, "Oh, for a second there, didn't recognize you. What happened to your face?"
It takes Tylia a beat, because just the question sort of takes her out of it a little, reminds her where she is and what's happening right now. But she says, "Well, I tried to catch up to you, and it went bad."
Run afoul of something that spit fire, did you?
Yeah.
Well, you're not dead, so they must have done a good job putting you back together. So, what can I do for you, Miss Tylia? And this is old Mauser.
Mouse, I'm trying to find the princess.
Grim, that. So, should have known a little bit, but what I do have for you is people stopped coming up from the south. People have been coming from the northeast, from Kipperly, from Everly. People haven't been coming up from Sorath. You'd think with the war, we'd be getting people coming through in droves, but no. We do get people trying to go south. We do our best to turn them away, though. Now, hear me out. Some that have returned from that road have been saying there's a blockade of undead on the highway around there. Too scared to give specifics as to where. Haven't seen it myself, of course. But they were scared enough to not be lying. So, said, if I know you, you're going to go anyway, right?
That's right. How long has that been going on?
About a week.
Does that line up with, like, before the princess's disappearance, after, during?
Like, right after.
Right after.
Like, her party had come through probably on, like, the 33rd. It's the 44th right now, so it's been, like, 11 days or so. Let me just check a note real quick. Yeah. She was supposed to arrive in Sorath on the 1st of Saturos. It's the 44th of Fresia's. She's not quite overdue, but after she passed through, it seemed like the road kind of closed.
So the road's kind of closed.
He says, yeah, so there's a shortcut through the hills to the Tessiac and the eastern road to Passacor. I'll mark it for you. Goat Trail, I think. I haven't been up there myself. Again, a little, too, stuck in one place to be doing that. It's a little far for me to take a vacation to, you know what I mean? But, mark it on your map. I don't know if your horse can make it up that trail. Want to leave him here? I'll look after him free for you, since we're friends. But
Appreciate that. Do you know which way she and the soldiers went?
well, they took the road.
Hmm.
Took the road south. That number of troops, they're not going to take anything but a road. If they don't have to.
Right. Anything else interesting?
Shar Passacor rolled through here a couple of days ago. The Duke Passacor.
You have nothing to say about a block of undead there?
He said that they were going to work on it, but he needed to get back to the capital first. So he encouraged us to encourage people to not go that way.
Right. Just from what I know of Sharpassacor, is he a very sort of let's get down to it kind of guy, or is he a little bit more lackadaisical? I mean, within reason of what he does.
Yeah, he's 100% the get stuff done kind of guy. You've occasionally, when you were like bodyguarding, like on the duty that night to go like with the king and queen to a show, for example, and he was there to enjoy the show, and he would rub elbows as much as necessary, and he would, talk with the family, of course, and spend time with them, but you could always tell he kind of had other stuff going on in his head about, like, prosecuting a war and that sort of stuff. It's very much get stuff done kind of guy. A lot of the older dukes are like that. Duke Hallworst, for example, is also like that.
That's in character then for him.
A little upset though. He didn't promise reinforcements for us right away. I don't like the idea of undead marching up the road to burn my tavern to the ground. So I'm just a tad nervous. The garrison here has been real good about stuff. Of course, they've shored up the perimeter a little bit, and held a couple of meetings about what to do if they show up, but still it makes me nervous. Don't like it.
It's pretty reasonable. Don't suppose you know somewhere I could get my hands on some armor?
I wish I could help you, Miss Tylia. I really do. If Sorath's still in one piece, that would be the best place to go. Otherwise, you're hauling it back to Fortith. We don't really carry that kind of stock here. We got people who can fix it if you've got it. The local blacksmith can do, a little repair job, but he's not much for building you a suit from scratch.
I'll even take studded leathers at this point.
If you could talk to him, see if he's, got the goods to do that, I suppose.
But nothing on hand. It'd be waiting for him to put it together.
He's not an armorer, Miss Tylia. We're simple folk here. And besides, the army's got pretty much everything spoken for.
Right. They shop around here? We're talking to them about anything comings and goings?
I would say they've kind of sharpened up, Miss Tylia. They've sharpened up a lot, what with the stories coming from the road. So, yeah, they've sharpened up. Say, do you know anything about how things are going? I mean, the war.
Do I?
Yeah, you can make a history check to kind of, like, see if you can put stuff together. Your rolls are so good.
I know, I'm just so good at it.
You're kind of suspecting that things aren't going great because this is 2 towns now that don't even have like a spare set of armor for their garrison. Because there's a garrison in every town. Might be small, but those soldiers are going to need equipment. This is the 2nd town in a row on the main highway that hasn't had spares for that garrison.
Well, Mouse, it's I've been out of it myself. But getting back to it.
He nods.
Getting right back to it.
Well, you know, look good for coming face to face with one of those fire spitters, so...
Yeah, and I only get prettier from here.
If you want a room, I've got one for you.
I'll take it. Much obliged.
Of course. Are you setting out to the goat trail? Or are you heading to the road tomorrow morning?
So just to review again, the goat trail...
Goat trail will take you... Let me just unpause the game so we don't have that giant-ass banner in the way.
Yeah.
The goat trail will take you this way to the east first. A bit of a detour to cut through a portion of the Severed Keeps in the hills out here. The Tessiac, and then you take the Tessiac in and the eastern road into Sorath. He doesn't know where the blockade is along this route. But like, if you wanted to, let me just get the pen out. You go this. God damn it. Draw. You'd go this way.
Hmm.
And then... God damn it. This way. And then that way. Sort of just help you visualize it there.
Right, okay.
Oops.
Yeah. Sounds right for me. Just want to check in on a few things first.
He nods. Alright, well, if you're going to the goat trail, are you leaving your horse here, or are you...
I'll leave Nutmeg here with you.
Okay. Well, if you want to, if you come back for him, of course, he'll be here for you. I'll pack some spare rations in your bag for you. I'm sure it's gonna be miles out of your way, so.
Appreciate it, Mouse. Could do you for some tinder?
Tinder? Oh, yeah.
Spare oil, anything if I need to set the rest of me on fire, I suppose.
Yeah. If you're trying to, even yourself out, yeah, I can pack
Right.
some of that stuff for you too.
Right, good. They think they got spare crossbows, or should I not even bother?
I mean, you might be able to beg one off of them, but I can't speak for them in that regard.
Right. Okay. Then I will check in with the garrison just to see if they have anything to report about the direction that the princess went in, anything unusual about that company of soldiers. And I'll check the inn to the same effect there as well. So those are the kind of places that they would probably stop off.
Sure, yeah. Go ahead and give me an investigation check.
Would I get this one at advantage as well, or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you're using your position to over these troops to kind of get them. Okay, so a 13
That's better.
is way better than a 4. Garrison here is a bit spooked right off the bat. They're, not curious about your questions. They understand your questions, but they seem to be curious where you're going with this. They don't have any answers other than everything was fine until like two or so days after the princess moved through. Then people stopped coming up from Sorath, and people that were going down from Sorath to Sorath started coming back, either like mortally wounded or scared or crazed or what have you. There haven't been any attacks, but they're expecting one.
Right. And at the end, then actually before I move on, so I have a question for you, and this is more of a game question.
Sure.
I've seen this is how you're ruling on it, but I've seen that sometimes things like large bows, long bows, or great bows, you can use strength instead of dexterity to fire them. Is that something that you do here? Or no.
Sorry, can you repeat what you just said? Odie made a sound and it reset my brain.
That's all right. I know that tone well. I know that sometimes DMs will have large bows, like I mean, I guess it depends. Like a long bow, sometimes it's the really compact recurves. Use strength instead of dex to operate. Is that something you do?
You can get one made for you to be like that. The variety of bows that are common in Krunth are more about finesse and accuracy than they are about power.
Right.
So
that would be something that they probably wouldn't have on hand, and I have to wait for someone to make an entire freaking bow for me.
Yeah, that would be the case. If you're trying to trying to break a weapon outside of its regular mold from a game perspective, you need to build something custom.
Cool.
Which I think that's fair and normal. So good question though.
Good. Okay, cool. Then I guess I will see if there's a crossbow and some bolts that can be spared.
Yeah. You made an investigation check about a 13. You'll need to speak with the garrison commander. It's a sergeant who is just in charge of the little platoon that's here. So for this, you can use one of your social stats. So you have 4 social stats. You have intelligence, wisdom, charisma, and honor. Now you may be asking, how is intelligence or wisdom social stats? Well, some people can appeal to other people's intellect. Some people can appeal to other people's experience. Of course, always appeal on a charisma basis, and you can always use honor as a means to appeal. So this soldier, when you talk to him, you can make your argument for taking one of his garrison's weapons. You choose which stat you're going to use to appeal, and you make the appropriate check.
I think I'm going to go with charisma.
Okay.
Because I don't know if this course of action from the overview sounds wise. I don't know if the matter of honor would necessarily carry the day, but I think there is something that kind of is very dashing and appealing about, the last royal bodyguard going out to find the princess.
Sure, yeah. You can appeal to his sense of story and adventure through charisma.
Cool. So is that persuasion?
You may roll persuasion if you would like. Yes.
Cool.
Very good.
All right. I saw the 4 there and I got scared.
Yeah. What do you say to this guy to sort of convince him that you need his crossbow more than he does?
I think one crossbow might not make much of a difference at all. You here. But me out on my own out there. That's all I've got. I'll take every last piece that I can scrape up. Whatever it takes to find the princess and get her back safe.
He kind of nods solemnly and goes, "Well, the boys and I are trained and are relying on these. I do have a box that we didn't have a chance to train on. So, let me show you. You might be familiar with this, more familiar than we are." And he takes you over to a box in the back of the garrison. He opens it, and inside is a pristine, freshly manufactured auto crossbow, Mark 1.
Ah.
He says, "Now, I don't know how to use the damn thing. Looks complicated, but we have one, and if you want it, it doesn't make any difference to us."
Is Tylia trained on this thing?
It's a martial weapon, so yes.
Excellent. Okay, so then she's going to pull it out and almost second nature, work all the mechanisms, check them all, load it, unload it, check the fire, check like the weight, the pressure on the trigger.
Okay.
The only kind of stumble that she does is when she moves in with her left hand, there's a little bit of stiffness there. But she just looks up after completing the inspection and says, "Yeah, I'm familiar. Thank you, Sergeant."
You're welcome. And he nods and says, "Well, that's all I got for you."
Appreciated. What's your name?
Oh, well, uh, my name is, Tarsus.
Tarsus. Good name.
Sure.
I'll be sure to mention it to the princess if I find her, yeah?
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Cool. Okay, so we've learned some interesting things. We've learned that this whole business, bad business down the road started after the princess went this way. There's a go path. We're definitely going to take that. Got some supplies. Got a cool auto crossbow.
The auto crossbow, the weight on that is correct. It is 16 pounds.
Sweet.
It's heavy as fuck, so.
Yep. But it is so worth it.
It's pretty sweet.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
100 and 400 foot range. Hell yeah.
That's for the regular single shot. The short range burst is a 15-foot line.
Super fair.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need something put down.
Yeah.
And I guess the inn is the place where the soldiers would spend their time. It's not a big enough city to have like a dedicated brothel or anything here.
No, they're not.
Okay. No gambling hall then. All that's just done kind of in and around the inn, I'd suspect.
Yeah, if they're doing any gambling, it's in the inn at a table. That's kind of just like ad hoc, the gambling table.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've been gambling at that table for the past 400 years. How dare you sit there? You know. My father's father gambled at that table. What the fuck are you doing? Not gambling at that table.
Okay. And I've also learned that Shar came through after this whole blockade, which is interesting, especially given he was talking about the that cult dedicated to Ka.
Yeah.
So, oh well.
All right. You want to spend the night and then head along the trail?
Yep. And the alarm spell goes up. Same deal.
Sure. Okay, your next morning, nothing has happened overnight.
Very good. Okay.
You walk out of the inn, and there's sort of a little commotion out by the by the entrance to the town on the south side.
I'll check that out.
Sure. You head over to there. The street is like full ass mud. Just as you step through it.
Good Galatian.
Yep. And as you approach, you see some of the soldiers are kind of standing around, and there's a couple of like looky-loos kind of like 20 feet away, kind of like peeking around. The sergeant kind of walks up to you and goes, well, I don't know if you're a curse or a blessing, but what we thought was going to happen happened last night. Wanna take a peek?
What am I picking at?
It's easier to show you. So he takes you.
Okay.
He takes you over to one of their like little haphazard sort of cavalry stake setups. And for people who aren't familiar with what these are, it's a kind of like a fence, but with half of the posts tilted forward, so that their pointy bits are facing a direction, facing the same direction. So they've kind of set up these little barricades kind of on the south side of town for them to not only take cover behind, but also to kind of like mitigate movement. And by one of them, one of their guys is on top of one, ripped open. Like, completely ripped open. The ground and the wood are soaked in his blood, and there is a creature like lopsided on the ground, riddled with crossbow bolts, like 20 feet forward. Last night they were over there, and the creature happened upon him before we knew it. He was getting ripped open. We heard the tearing of metal, a little gurgle, and next thing we knew, the thing was coming at us, and we just unloaded on it.
What am I looking at exactly?
It's some kind of like fleshy skeleton, right? Like it's got like a skeleton sort of bony head. It's got a musculature that's too beefy for something that has been rotting. So, that's very strange. It's got long claws, which is very different than any kind of skeleton you've ever seen before. And its legs are like too developed for fast movement to also be natural. This is some kind of monster.
Is there anything I can roll to determine
Yeah,
more about what kind of monster?
An Arcana roll would be... Oh, that's also a good roll.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a Kruntian ghoul. It is a sort of an amalgam of zombie and skeleton. From a perspective of like what this means is someone made this creature on purpose. Being that it's undead, it could have been made centuries ago and just been given instructions. Those instructions could have failed, and it could have been basically operating without instructions and given into its baser instincts, which is to seek out flesh and destroy it. But they get made by somebody. Necromancers, more specifically. Necromancy's been outlawed in Krunth for a while. And so, and more specifically, the raising of the dead and the using of human bodies as like fuel for spells or for, materials for the creation of creatures and spellcraft. On top of that, the creation of creatures is also outlawed in Krunth. The Kruntian military has the ability to make chimera, but they don't, because it's against the law.
Fascinating. So this though is not a chimera. This is an undead being.
This is an undead creature that was constructed for a purpose. It could be to guard a tomb, it could be to guard an individual in a tomb, or it could be to murder the closest group of people. You don't know, and you'll never know because it's dead.
Where did you say this happened? Just aim upon your man on the road?
Right there, where the barricade is. It was just on him suddenly out of the dark and popped him open like a ration pack.
But he hadn't gone anywhere previous to that?
No. He was sent over there to start his watch. Before the shift was, the change was over. We were all kind of right here because we were expecting something like this to happen. He's screaming, we're shooting, and the thing is hitting the dirt.
Right. Can I examine the body?
Yeah. Which body?
Well, I mean, ideally both. I'd like to see if there's anything that I can learn about this ghoul, or maybe where it came from, or if it was alone, etc.
Sure, yeah. With your Arcana check, you examine the creature's body. It has brands and, marks and sort of, symbols on it, but you're not very familiar with what these are specifically. But they are probably the magic that was used to animate it.
Right. Okay. Okie dokie then.
Your education in this matter is just not specific enough.
Yeah, that's fair.
As for the other guy, clearly violence happened to him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is his armor intact?
No. He got ripped to shreds.
To shreds, you say?
Yes, to shreds.
Perfect. All right. Do I know anything about any specific weaknesses that ghouls have?
I would say what you're familiar with for creatures like this. This is firmly in the category of hit it till it dies.
Right.
Fire usually works on zombies, but it becomes muddy in the area of skeletons and other more complex undead. The various elemental damages would be reliable. So if you had a weapon that was enchanted with lightning, for example, that would be very good, or that sort of thing. Radiant is not reliable, because of the way it functions in this setting. As far as a weakness is concerned, you're looking at a creature that was made for combat, and they made it to have as few weaknesses as possible. They are fast, they can move on any surface, much like a caconite can, and they also are known to breathe poisonous gases. So, on top of their razor-sharp claws.
Is there any alchemical antidote, or maybe some sort of treated rag or thing to treat that gas or to get through it?
The military has things like rebreathers and Magitech rebreathers that they use to deal with stuff like that. But they are expensive and usually reserved for knights. So guys like this wouldn't have access to it.
Well, she'll share what information she knows about ghouls.
Is that what this fucking thing is?
Yeah.
Yikes.
That's what you got here, yeah. Don't suppose you happen to know of some nearby tomb or barrow or anything like that?
Oh, Sorath, as you're aware, has that big-ass graveyard. Could have come all the way from there. But there are, old barrows and tombs out in the hills, of course.
You ever been down that goat path?
The one out in the east? Yeah, it's pretty narrow. Pretty steep on the way towards the east, even steeper on the way down.
Right.
It's a goat path. Goats they're weird. They can kind of like walk up vertical surfaces. It's very strange.
Right. Well, thank you
Mm.
for that. See if I can't send word if I find anything, and I will go get some rope and maybe a walking stick and some climbing equipment.
He nods. He says, "You probably wouldn't need the climbing equipment unless it's washed out or something. But a good stick won't catch you off guard."
Right. Burn the body just to be safe.
Oh yeah, of course. That's standard procedure these days.
Dismember it first.
Right. Okay. Barry, get the axe. Right, Sergeant. You see that guy go strutting off to get an axe.
Just one last quick thing. That because Char's men mentioned the what's the name of the cult again? Because it was also I remember the name of it. I can't just put it together in my brain for some reason.
The Screams of Eternal Death.
The Screams of Eternal Death. That's it. They don't happen to have some kind of like symbol or some such, do they?
You're not aware of what their symbology is.
Okay.
This is a somewhat new cult that's risen in the past couple of years.
There's always new kids on the block.
Yep.
Well, okay. I guess it's time to get going to the goat path.
All right. So you head east to the goat path.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about this whole road concept just now. Seems like a pretty bad spot.
People in the chat were like, "Take the road, you coward." When you head up the goat path, my narrative for this is Mauser wasn't kidding about how rugged this was. The way up the trail was very steep. The way down the trail was even steeper. Go ahead and give me a dexterity saving throw. Oof.
Yep.
On the way down, you step on a rock that looked very secure. I can't stress to you how secure it looked. And as you step on it, it comes very loose and comes sliding down this slope.
Yeah.
You lose your footing. You become horizontal.
Mhm.
You're getting bludgeoned and beaten all the way down to where things flatten out a bit.
Great.
And you take 60 feet worth of damage.
Oh, Jesus.
17 points.
Holy Christ. Yep. Ain't great.
You hear Mauser's, intrusive voice in your head as a figment of your imagination going, "See, told you, it was steep. Aren't you glad you left Nutmeg with me?"
Yeah, Mouse, rub it in.
You begin to follow the rest of the goat path to the river where the hills kind of open up. And you can go ahead and make me a perception check, please. There's a storm off in the distance covering this region here around the Kushfire Mountains and the lower Tessiac Forest. Seems to be persistent. It's not really moving.
It's unusual.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Soon,
very unusual.
yes, but soon the whole country is going to be covered in a rainstorm that won't leave for 2 months. So, as the rains come in, you continue down this following the river here, unless you want to ford it.
No. No.
Okay. You continue following the river along. Where I will deduct the rations necessary. And you will arrive in Sorath on the 2nd of Satyros, which I think is a day or so before Aurelia.
Before I get there, just because I assume like I will have had the opportunity to take a long rest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to just click the long rest button.
You sure can.
Okay, there we go. All right.
And you arrive in Sorath without too much of an incident. On the, you're going to approach the city from the north because there's no direct route in from the east. It sort of kind of wraps around. As you approach the city from the north, you can see that it's keep poking up above the curtain wall. You know, there to your right, the west, is the fabled graveyard. There also appears to be a circus in town. Its tents are up on the north side of the city, sandwiched between the road and the graveyard. When Tylia sees the city, what does she feel?
When she sees the city?
Mm-hmm.
This is where the princess was supposed to have gotten to.
Yes, this was her destination.
The circus is a little weird, admittedly, kind of incongruous with the giant graveyard, but I think she sees it less as a safe haven and more as a big expanse to scour clean, just another obstacle.
Okay. Well, with that, we have reached the end of our introduction session. I want to thank everybody for coming out and joining us and getting introduced to Tylia. We will see Tylia again in the first session of Song of the Crown. And, yeah. Hope you all had fun, and come see us on the 30th for Patchwork's introduction session. Have a good evening.
Good night.
Bye-bye.